Um, Hi there. There's a song that Johnny Cash made very popular. Actually, it's a very humorous song. The song tells a story of a guy growing up in the times when there were cowboys. And this guy's name is Sue. The story goes on and says that just before Sue's father deserted both him and his mother, he left him with this name Sue. And he said growing up with this name was tough. I mean, he got into many a fight trying to defend his manhood, of course, as cowboys would do, because he was constantly ridiculed and teased. Even as an adult, he had to stand up many a time in a pub and defend his name. So Sue, he went out on this mission to find his father, and according to the song, his mission was to kill him. After a long time, he walks into a saloon, as the song says, in a dusty little town, and finds this man, his father. He walks up to his father and he says to him, "How do you do? My name is Sue." And in the song, he hits his father. Anyway, a huge fight breaks out, typical Western style, and ends up with them both drawing for their guns. And Sue draws his gun quicker than his father can, and there they stand. And the father turns around and says to his son, he says, "Sue, you fought a very good fight today, and that is only because of one reason, and that's because your name is Sue." His father went on to say that he realized he wasn't going to be able to be around and raise the son of his, so he gave him this name Sue, knowing he's either going to grow tough or die. Anyway, the song goes on and says, Sue threw down his gun and hugged his father, and they cried and they made up. And Sue says it's amazing how your opinion changes when you see things from a different point of view, profound as that may be. The song ends off with Sue saying that when he has a son one day, he's going to name him. And of course, the song takes an appropriate pause, and he says, "John or Paul or anything, but just not Sue." And every time I hear the song, it's on a playlist on my radio, and I thoroughly enjoy it. And actually, I'm reminded whenever I hear that song of the importance of our names. Um, um, I'm one of those people um, that would say to a person that I meet for the first time, "Gee, you don't look like a Paul." Putting a person or Paul, what they look like, into a bracket, and it's funny how the discussion unfolds from there. How names and faces seem to have an association. Anyway, there's a number of places in the Bible where the name of a person is changed, and I suspect a lot of you know that. But I don't know if you know, but in the book of Revelation, the last book of the Bible, in chapter 2, we are told that every person that overcomes difficulties in life here on earth is going to be given a white stone with a new name on it. And what will that name be? Well, according to this book of Revelation, that person's name no one knows except God and the recipient of the stone. And in my mind, I imagine that name would be an upgrade of your current name. And because the author says those who overcome would be in heaven and be given a stone, I imagine that name would be linked to your strength that you showed in overcoming some difficulty or something that was difficult specifically in your life. Have you ever stopped to think of how God sees you? Have you ever stopped to think how God sees your every good deed, how God sees your every good thought, how God sees every word that you've uttered, and God sees every thought and every temptation that you've wrestled with, every temptation and every thought that you have overcome? God has seen that. Of course, I could be wrong, and God just names us all Sue, but I don't think so. I think that strength of yours, that struggle that you've gotten through, God knows, God cares, and God is there with you. Jesus died so that when we are beaten by a struggle, we can have another chance and another chance. And the Spirit is there to be with us through each and every struggle, through each and every second chance that we have. I hope that when you go through a struggle, you'll realize that that is how God sees you and God is going to name you. And I hope you remember that the Spirit of God takes you and accompanies with you through each and every struggle. Until we meet again, God bless.